Mr. Roy? You're recognized for 5 minutes.
Strike the last word.
You recognize. Gentleman's recognized.
Thank the chairman. I would note that my colleagues on the other side of the aisle have their talking points in order, because that's how this works. Cruel, extreme, unworkable, immoral. Make for nice splashy sound bites and Twitter for show for the television to get out and send out as clips. Mr. Chairman, I would ask to insert into the record 2 New York Times articles, one titled "As Migrant Children Were Put to Work, United States Ignored Warnings." The second, "Alone and Exploited Migrant Children Work Brutal Jobs Across the United States."
Without objection.
I would note that one of the quotes in one of these articles, both in the New York Times, both published in the last few months, quote, "While HHS checks on all minors by calling them a month after they begin living with their sponsors, data obtained by the Times showed that over the last 2 years, the agency could not reach more than 85,000 children. Overall, the agency lost immediate contact with 1/3 of migrant children." It's not as cute as kids in cages, is it? The supposed cages that were put in place by Barack Obama, that my colleagues on the other side of the aisle like to try to exploit to be those who are the truly compassionate ones, you see. Those who will look out and preach that they are the ones who care for brown people. They are the ones who care for people who are migrants. I assume that they don't believe that it was cruel when ranchers in South Texas and Arizona run across the dead bodies of children and migrants exploited by the coyotes. The 856 migrants that died attempting to cross the southwest border last fiscal year alone. 856 dead bodies floating in the Rio Grande, found on ranches exploited by cartels. I suppose it's just perfectly fine that cartels are operating with impunity along the Texas border, slitting the throats of people who dare to oppose them, threatening people, burning people alive, locking them into bars and buildings and burning them alive. I suppose the 53 migrants that cooked in the Texas heat in a tractor trailer in San Antonio last August, that's not cruel. That's not immoral. That's not extreme. But yet that's the truth. That's the truth of the current system perpetuated by Democrats in the false name of compassion. Looking out to be able to say that they are the ones that can speak for the huddled masses, that they alone are the ones that can do that. That somehow those who seek to come to the United States seeking a better way of life because the rule of law matters, that we then thwart and undermine the rule of law, allowing children, women, and people seeking a better way of life to die because we, in fact, refuse to enforce the rule of law. Yes, we are putting forward measures today to ensure that our system works, because a system that works begins and ends with the rule of law and ensuring that people are protected. What we are putting forward today, including provisions from HR 29, but not all the provisions, because the legislative process works. We're having conversations, and we have a package today that accomplishes the objectives set forth in HR 29 and the numerous other proposals we have put forward over the years to ensure that people who come to the United States seeking asylum will have their case heard, but likewise ensure that the administration can no longer flout the rule of law using asylum and parole to end run the rule of law to release people into the United States in ways that causes 85,000 children to get lost. Children in these articles getting sold into the human trafficking business, the sex trafficking business. All of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle like to tout how compassionate they are. Well, go campaign on that. We will campaign on standing up for the children, the families, the migrants who seek to come here and do it the right way, to do it following the rule of law so this country can continue to stand as a beacon of hope for the world, rather than the lawless morass that this administration has put forward, importing lawlessness, importing fentanyl, instead of exporting the rule of law and hope around the world. That's what this bill will stand up to reinstate. I yield back.